Are you still creating Pinterest pins every single week, like brand new ones from scratch? Friends, no more. Stop what you're doing because you don't have to do that. Today, I'm showing you how to refresh and reuse the content you already have. Maybe you can give it like a second life, a third life, maybe even on Pinterest, because the reality of this is that smart pinners don't burn out from content creation. They just repurpose. Hey, welcome back to the Pin and Plan podcast. I'm Lisa, your Pinterest pioneer. I'm a bit of a Squarespace nerd, admittedly, and founder of the Simple Site Lab and Body, Mind, Mood. Now, if you've ever stared at any point in time at your Canva doc that you're working on, or maybe an Adobe doc, and thought, I have absolutely no idea what to pin this week, I've done that. You're not alone. And this episode is about to take that pressure off completely. This week, we're talking about how to refresh and reuse old pins so they keep working without you having to create brand new content every single time. We're talking what makes a pin refresh worthy. We're talking simple tweaks that give it a whole new life. And we're talking about what not to waste your time on and what to repeat as often as possible. But first, let's check out last week's poll results because they're the exact reason that this episode absolutely needed to happen. Now, last week I asked, how often do you check your Pinterest analytics, right? And here's how it shook out. Once a week. A few of you admitted that, yep, I check once a week. Love that. Okay. Once a month. Now, most of the people who answered the poll question are here. They check once a month. When I remember, yep, I get that. I get that. And there were a few of you who were brave enough to admit it. Never. You never check your analytics, and that's perfectly fine. So here's the breakdown. If you're not tracking your Pinterest analytics regularly, there's no shame in that, right? No judgment. But it also means you're likely creating a lot more content than you actually need to. And that's what we're going to try and fix today. So let's break down why refreshing old pins actually works better than creating something new every single time. And let me just stick in a reminder here. Anything that I share with you in terms of tips, point form tips, I will share in the show notes below. So do check them out. Now, let me just get on this first issue here. So I hear a lot of people saying, hey, if you reuse pins, old pins, or you repurpose them, it's just lazy. It's not true. It's not lazy. It's actually really smart. It's really smart to do, especially from a content creation, time management, creation standpoint. It's an incredibly smart thing to do. Now, I get that the Pinterest world as it is sometimes can make you feel like you need to pin new content every week or you're not doing it right. But that's totally not true. Here's what you do need to know and do need to listen to. Pinterest loves consistency. We know this, right? Not constant reinvention. We are not reinventing the wheel every single time. A refreshed pin is seen as a new pin to the algorithm, especially if you are, or as long as you have a different image, a title, maybe description, maybe all three, maybe even a different layout. But it will be seen as a new pin to the algorithm. Most Pinterest users that I know do not scroll back on their analytics more than a few months. Okay, so even if you choose a pin to repurpose, refresh, and it might feel kind of old to you, and you're like, wait a minute, that's pretty old. It's probably brand new to a lot of the people who are going to see it. And I say this because there are a lot of new users on Pinterest. First of all. Second of all, your audience may have grown since you pinned that last pin. So those people may not have seen it. Okay, so do remember that. Also, reusing generally equals more data. So what does that mean? Sounds kind of weird, right? Well, you already know which pins worked for you. So why not build off that success instead of reinventing content, reinventing the wheel, if you will, every single week, right? Like build off of what you already know works. Maybe you've got pins that went viral. Maybe there's a pin that you've got that had a lot of saves, or maybe there's pins where people actually took the time to comment on them. So those are the things you need to look at when you're choosing a pin. Now, if you're on board with refreshing, let's talk about how to do it without overthinking that. part of it. Okay. So there are 3 ways that I use, and I know a number of people use, to refresh an old pin without starting over. And here's exactly how to breathe new life into old content without redesigning basically your entire Pinterest strategy. Okay. Now, tweak the headline. Number 1, change up the hook, right? It's the same content. You're going to give it a new angle. Think of this: healthy breakfast ideas. Maybe not so much. Think 5 quick breakfasts for busy moms. It's the same content. It's a different angle. Update the design, right? Pretty straightforward. Use the same title, but maybe change the layout, maybe change the image or even the font style and color. Pinterest will see this as a brand new pin. Okay. Switch the call to action. Yep. These changes, remember something. These changes keep your content fresh in the algorithm and give your audience a new reason to click. So when you switch up the call to action, think of something like this. You see a pin, you've got it. Maybe you wrote, read the post. Think about grab the free checklist or pin now, read later, right? Give them something more interesting to do, right? You're just switching it up. That's all you're doing. Okay. And, if you do these changes, keep these changes going, it keeps your content really fresh. And as I said, in the algorithm, it gives your audience a new reason to click. And that's ultimately what you want to do. Okay, so we're moving forward here. And because I saw last week that you loved the little mini CTA test, and I had done one the week before as well. I've got something really special here again, and it's not a download per se. I mean, you can download it. It's very short, but you can actually do it right now. Okay, you wouldn't even need to download it, but if you want to, go for it. Now, I also want to share that I shared this yesterday in the PBC, in a PBC post, kind of an early access for PBC members. So you got that yesterday. If you were in there, you saw it. Now, the test is the 3-style remix challenge. Okay. Now, it took me a little bit of time to think about this and how to do it, but here's what I came up with. So you're going to pick one blog post. You're going to pick a lead magnet or even an offer that you've got. You're going to remix it into 3 refreshed pins using these angles. Okay. First angle, it's a benefits-based angle. What's in it for your audience? What's in it for your viewers? Right? Think of this. Now, bear in mind, I used myself, so I used fitness as for my examples for these. So I chose 3 bar moves to sculpt your arms. Okay? It's a benefits-based. You're going to sculpt your arms, 3 moves, right? Next one, problem-based. Call out the pain point of the audience or the pin or the viewer, right? Think of this. Struggling with flabby arms, try these. Okay? And lastly, urgency or a quick win. Add FOMO, okay? Fear of missing out, okay? Or speed. An example would be tone your arms in 10 minutes a day, okay? So benefits-based, problem-based, urgency or quick win-based, okay? You're going to pick a blog post, a lead magnet, an offer, and remix it into 3 refresh pins using these angles, okay? Now, when you've done this, and I know you're going to do it, drop these 3 pins into your schedule or pin them over time, but you're going to do this. You're not going to pin them to the same boards. You're going to pin them to different boards that are relevant, okay? And track which ones bring the most clicks. And that's going to give you some really, really interesting information. You'll see what I'm talking about. Now, again, there's no extra downloads here, no canvas stress. Just open the planner, right? Whatever planner you're using, write the 3 angles down and then batch them. That's all you have to do. It's very, very straightforward. Okay. So I'm really looking forward to see what you guys do with it. And I would love to hear more about how it worked for you. Now, let's dive in to this week's PBCQ, because this one hits right in the middle of refresh strategy. And of course, this is ultimately one of my favorite parts of the show is the weekly Q&A, which comes straight from the PBC, because there's there are tons of questions on the PBC. If you look, there are tons. So this question comes from Avery in the PBC, and they ask, can I repin an old pin that did well last year or should I always create a new version? Well, falling in line with our show, our episode today, and our topic, yes, Avery, it's an awesome question, and it really does make a lot of sense. Repinning an old pin as is to a new relevant board is totally fine. And it always works. It still works. Okay. But if it's been over like 6 or 8 months, then I would definitely say refresh the visual or the headline first, then repin it like it's new. Okay. Pinterest will absolutely treat it as fresh content, and you'll get more reach. Okay. Now, again, you know you're going to choose a pin that you already know that did well. So if you're refreshing it and putting it out there, it's going to do great, and it's going to get a lot of reach. My rule personally is if the content's still relevant, give it sort of a Pinterest glow up and then go again. Right? Like keep going. Okay? Relevancy is just as important, right? Yeah. Now, pin and plan tip of the week. This is, again, one of my favorite parts of the show, and I love sharing this stuff with you. I love sharing these little tidbits. Now, here's your strategy move for this week. It's create a reuse first content folder. Okay? I know. Now, make one board on Pinterest or one folder in Canva if you're using Canva, and title it Reuse These. Right? Sounds straightforward. You're going to drop in pins that performed well. So they're like your all-stars. Now, I would recommend doing this on Pinterest, and I would recommend keeping the board secret. But you're going to take pins and copy them into that board. Now, these are the ones that did really, really well. Like I said, your all-stars, okay? And each week, pick one and give it a refresh. Give it a new headline, give it a new color, new layout, or call to action, and then republish to a secondary relevant board and let it go. Okay, so this is the pin and plan tip of the week. This will save you time. It will keep your strategy working. And honestly, it will feel like a creative sort of, I don't know, cheat code, I guess, in some way. But yeah, so make one board on Pinterest or a folder in Canva if you prefer. Title it Reuse These. Drop in pins that performed really well. Think about all your top performing pins. And each week, pick one and give it a refresh. Right? Headline, color, layout, call to action, image even, and then republish to a secondary relevant board. Okay? So there we are. We're getting close to the end of the show. It goes so fast when I'm in here. Now, podcast, poll of the week. Let's do this. So let's talk truth. Right? How often do you reuse, I should say, old pins? How often do you reuse old pins? Weekly? Monthly? Only when I'm out of ideas? Never, but I'm going to now. Okay? Vote here on Spotify or DM me at Body, Mind, Mood, Fit or the Simple Sight Lab on Instagram. Ultimately, join the PBC. Tag me on the PBC at Body, Mind, Mood. I want to hear what you're doing. Okay? How often do you reuse old pins? Now, let's wrap this up and talk about what's coming next. Okay, so this is a wrap on episode 6. I'm loving this so much, like episode 6. I can't believe it's been 6 episodes. No more starting from scratch every week, right? Right. Here's what we covered. Why refreshing old pins actually works better than posting something brand new every time. 3 simple ways to refresh your pins fast. A super fun 3-style remix test to try today. Okay, if you're hearing this for the first time, if you were in the PBC yesterday when I posted, then you already probably got on it. A super fun, and what to do with that old pin that crushed it last year. Hint, reuse it, but smarter. Okay, now next week, I'm going to just a little spoiler here. We're diving in how to batch your Pinterest workflow in just 1 or 2 work sessions a month so you can stop pinning on the fly and start planning like a pro. Okay, so keep your ears open for that. Now, I've got a little bit of homework for you guys. Vote in the poll. DM me your answer, Body, Mind, Mood, Fit, Simple Sight Lab on Instagram, or head over to the PBC. If you're not on the PBC yet, please get on there. Tag me and tell me, okay? Try the 3-style remix challenge and tag me when you do it. Follow me on Spotify so you're always first in line for Thursday's new drops. Yes. And, of course, leave me a great review if you can. I would appreciate it. And until next time, keep pinning with purpose, planning with attention, and I will see you next week on the Pin and Plan podcast. Bye for now.